The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have an actor in the car, and he's an actor and he's played some favourite roles of favourite Hollywood, is it Hollywood cartoons?
Yeah.
I believe so. But anyway, without further ado, Alex, nice to have you here today.
Hi, nice to be here.
Okay, so why acting and what's your background?
Well, it was sort of the only thing I was ever good at, really. Or the only thing that made me really happy. You know, I did a bit of maths and physics and stuff, and that was fine at GCSE. But once it got to A level, that was way too complicated for me. But acting was something that I really loved doing. You know, I was in like the school plays and stuff. So yeah, when someone suggested to me, why don't you look into doing that as a career, I jumped at the opportunity, you know, and I started looking at drama schools and things and taking that route instead of university.
Okay. You come from a family of actors?
No, not at all. My dad's an accountant and my mum works in events management.
Okay, so the events is kind of
Yeah.
here, but the accountant is something totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, what is it about acting that motivates you?
I really love the opportunity to kind of step into someone else's shoes and be something else. You know, I don't think I'd ever be content like working in a job where I could only do one thing over and over again. Whereas it's completely different depending what contract I'm on. You know, one day I'll be a dancer in a nightclub in the 60s, and then the next I'll be playing the ugly stepsister in Shrek, and it's every day is a surprise. Every few months my life takes a completely different turn that I wasn't expecting.
So, just to understand, are you contracted to companies just to do shows, or?
Yeah, so as of right now, I'm on a 6-month contract with Merlin Entertainments, who run the London Eye and the London Dungeons and Shrek's Adventure and all that. Outside of that, I also do some extras work and pick up small parts on TV shows where I can. I was in Pennyworth not long ago, the prequel about Alfred, Batman's butler, that's being shot.
Okay, that's good. What is it about acting that you know now that you wish you knew when you had started?
That it's still a job. You know, I think when I went into it, because like I said, it was doing what I loved, and it still is. You know, I still very much enjoy my job and what I do, but it is still a job. And there's no, you know, I think a lot of people go into the industry thinking that it's going to be great. They can just chill. That it's going to be like their drama classes at school, that you can just sort of faff about, and you really can't. You know, it's grueling.
It's a 9 to 5.
Yeah, or sometimes
hours and unsociable hours.
Yeah, and there's a lot. You know, like I don't have that kind of theme of like getting to Friday and knowing that I've got the weekend off and people.
Bit like an Uber driver.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit.
You're going to be the busiest on the weekend.
Exactly.
You're getting out, I got to work all through the night now. Yeah.
It definitely restricts your social life to other actors or other people working in the same job, because at least then you know that they're going to be off at the same time as you.
If you could act with anybody on the planet, who would that be and why?
Probably David Tennant, just because he's been my idol since forever. You know, I loved Doctor Who as a kid, and he was in one of my favourite productions of Much Ado About Nothing with Catherine Tate, which is one of my favourite Shakespeare plays. And then all the stuff he's been doing recently, you know, Good Omens, Around the World in 80 Days. I don't think I've ever seen anything with him in that I've disliked. So I'd definitely like to get the chance to work with him at some point.
Do you model yourself on him?
Yeah, I think I try to be my own person. I feel like I change the persona I put on depending on what I'm, you know, what role I'm looking for, what kind of people I'm working with, because it's very important that you get along with the people you work with, and in this kind of industry, you know, reputation is everything. So I just sit and observe and see how everyone else is acting, and then try and copy that.
Okay, that's excuse me, that's good. What would you say to your 16-year-old self?
I would say stop stressing about stuff that you like your maths and your physics and things. That's not the path for you. Spend less time on the internet playing video games, or at the very least care less about what, you know, random people on the internet think of you, and care more about your real life friendships.
That's an interesting one, because in the acting world, people are always going to give you opinions of your performance, of things. I'm just assuming here. I've never.
No, yeah, you're right.
How do you deal with that? I don't want to go down the deep role of mental health rabbit hole, but how do you deal with that as an actor?
I think it's hard. I know. Therapy has helped. I've been. Luckily, my mum has been able to afford to pay for therapy for me for the last few years. So I've been in that, and it's helped. Because I think definitely when I first got started, I was so worried about trying to please everyone and what everyone thought of me, and that's just something that you can't think about, because you can't please everyone, and you know, and rejection hurts, and particularly going through drama school and stuff, you know, that's a process of a lot of rejection, and then after you get out of that, it's, you know, and you start looking for jobs again, it's even more rejection, and then even there you've got people who...
In drama school, what is the rejection about? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm speaking from ignorance here, you get into the school, you're on the course.
Yeah, but it's getting into the school in the first place, which is the challenge. You because you need to audition. Often, several of them, you'll go through several rounds of auditions, and a lot of the time, it's not even kind of about you or your ability. It's about who they've already got on the course, and, you know, trying to fill it out and tick boxes.
Okay, so there's a politics element.
There is, definitely. I mean, I'm very lucky because I'm in the demographic that has, you know, historically been favoured by drama schools. You know, I'm white, I'm male, I appear straight when I want to. It's yeah. So it's been quite easy for me, but
can I ask you, the gay side of it, a lot of actors are gay. Like a lot of all the arts, all the creative is gay. Why would that be a disadvantage?
From the outside, even if it doesn't appear it, it's still the same as most of the world in terms of the kind of power dynamics of what's going on. Like, obviously, you know, you do get a lot of gay people in acting, but generally the heads of the schools are, you know, your kind of usual old straight white men, and even then, it's once you get past that, there's you know, a lot of casting directors and whatnot. So there's it really depends kind of where you go and who you meet.
That's funny. I would have never thought that, because my impression is that every time that I used to date a model, one of those catwalk models, and she wanted me to go to her shows and all these things, and every time I looked left or right, there was somebody who's gay. So it's like, I just thought you dominated, but you learn something every day. If you could do it all again, would you? And if you could change anything about the industry, what would you change?
Oh, that's an interesting. I mean, there's a lot of things I definitely want to change. Yeah, I think I definitely do it again. I know things now that I would have liked to know going in. I would have behaved differently. I would have.
Like, give us some pointers.
Well, I would have. I think I would have taken it more seriously when I'd started. When I did my foundation year, I would have focused more on the work than the social life aspect of it.
And what would you change? You're the big man at the top.
Put more roles for transgender people and gender non-conforming people, and I'd actually get those people playing those roles. You know, because I personally myself, I'm cis, but I know a lot of people who are trans or gender non-conforming who are struggling because there's barely any roles for them in the industry, and when there are those sorts of roles, they go to cis actors anyway.
We've run out of time. That last statement was a big episode in itself.
I'm definitely not the most qualified person to talk on that topic, but.
Okay. Thanks a lot. If anybody wants to hire you or interested in you, can they find you anywhere on social media?
Yes, they can. So my website is lexdrake.uk, as is my Instagram as well. So just lexdrake.uk.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.